Welcome to the Run Your Day podcast, where our goal is to expand your focus and perspective on life. This is your daily dose of motivation, mindfulness, and so much more. And now, here to help you take your day back, your host, Dan Hafner.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into another episode of the Run Your Day podcast. As always, Dan Hafner joining you here today. It's Wednesday. It's hump day, my friends. Excuse me. Still coming off this cold here. So today's topic is this: productivity versus procrastination. As always, thank you all for joining every single day. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. So today we're going to talk about these two ends of a spectrum. We have productivity and then we have procrastination. So I'm going to start with procrastination because I feel like a lot of us fall into this bucket rather than productivity, right? Procrastination is a killer, right? It's this problem that a lot of us face, and it's this problem of sitting on the fence, right? Like you're always either thinking about doing something, not committed to doing something, just circling the wagons in your head of like, I need to do this, but I can't, or I have this excuse of why I can't. And it just sucks the life out of you. You always kick the can down the road. You always come up with an excuse. You always just can't figure out what to do, right? And on the other end of that spectrum, you have productivity, which is busy bee, just like always doing something, always getting things done, always on the go, always go, Energizer Bunny style, right? And I'm going to talk about a problem with that here in a second. But those are really the two ends of the spectrum I'm talking about today. So, going back to procrastination, there's two things I want to talk about to you for, at least ways that I overcame procrastination and that I still struggle, to get over this hump sometimes. And really the first step to that is to just eliminate your excuses, right? Like there's always something that you can do, even if you have like a big hairy goal that you're trying to work towards, or like a big thing, like they always call this term like eating the frog, right? Like getting your big hairy task out of the way in the morning so you don't have it looming over your head. Like this actually happened to me earlier this week. Like I had a big decision to make, a big thing to do for the day, and it was about 9-10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just sitting there like not doing anything productive because I just had this big decision looming over my head and I just couldn't make up my mind. And I finally was like, okay, this is killing my productivity. Just made it. Just was like, okay, boom, done. Okay, now you create that space now in your mind and in your life to actually move forward, right? So getting over that procrastination actually leads to productivity, right? And so the first step right there is, just overcome excuses. Like, okay, I got to eat this frog. I got to do this. Why am I, putting this off? Why am I procrastinating this? Like, am I scared of something? Am I waiting on something? Like, what's the deal? Like, what's my excuse, right? So the second step to overcoming procrastination, like, quickly, is to just be less busy, and this kind of ties into productivity, and is my little segue here. But we're always on the go. All of us we have 90 million things going on. We got families. We have whether you have kids, whether you have pets, whether you have different activities you do in the community or at church or whatever it might be, right? On top of work, on top of feeding people, on top of sleeping, there's like always something, right? Always something. And then if even in your downtime, there's always Netflix, there's always Facebook, there's always Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is. Like there's things to keep us busy at all times of the day in this day and age. Like there's never a moment where you won't be busy, right? But I think a lot of us make this mistake thinking that because we're busy all the time, we're being productive. And that's not the case. Like that's just called being busy. You're just not. Are you actually moving the needle forward, right? Like that is the measure of productivity. Are you actually doing the things that are relevancy. Are they relevant to what you're trying to accomplish? Excuse me. So there's this conundrum of accomplishment versus activity, right? And oh man, like I've seen myself do this time after time, and I really want to drive this point home to you guys. Like, just because you're busy doesn't mean you're taking the steps necessary to be productive. Like I see this in my job a lot. I see this in my home life a lot. Like, just because I'm, washing the dishes, doing laundry, sweeping the floor, blah, 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 doing all this stuff, like, doesn't mean that I'm actually moving forward with what's really important at the time, right? So like, how do you identify, what's important and like what's actually going to be productive? And it just comes back to that, like, no matter what domain it's in, if it's inside your body or, your career or a relationship or whatever it is, if it's not actually moving the needle forward and actually moving you towards the goal or the target that you actually have inside of that domain, then it's not being productive. It's being busy. Like, anyone can do busy work at work. Like, you can always find the little mundane tasks to keep yourself busy and to play in your Excel spreadsheet or play with numbers a little bit, fudge around a Word document or a PowerPoint just to like look like you're being busy. But are you actually being productive and doing the stuff that you're supposed to be doing, right? I think a lot of us have this happen, and it's tough. But the key to overcoming that procrastination first is to just identify and eliminate your excuses, and then just stop being less busy, because that's also, being busy is a form of procrastination, right? Like, you're actually just kicking the can down the road. You're just actually not doing the things that you need to do to move the needle forward and actually take the necessary and relevant tasks to get done what you need to get done. Like, this comes back, I remember reading the book called the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. He talks about how 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort, right? Because a lot of people just take unnecessary, irrelevant action, and during an 8-hour day, and what do you actually accomplish, right? Like, if you just actually identified 2 or 3 things that you needed to do for the day and just got them done, you can have a 4-hour work week. Like, you can literally get the same amount of results that you get in 40 to 50 hours of working if you're just relevant about what you're doing. I remember seeing a post on a Facebook page I was on not long ago where people were bragging about the number of hours they work in a week. And I'm like, bro, like, why? Like, that just shows me that, like, one, okay, cool. Like, you're that's great that you're proud you work 80 to 90 hours a week, but like, I challenge you to think of, like, why are you doing that? Is that really necessary? Maybe it is for him. I don't know. But to me, that seems a bit excessive, because, like, is he just not doing the things that he needs to do? Are you just working for work's sake? Or are you just avoiding the real things that you need to do to move the needle forward, right? So as we wrap up today's show, I want you to think about this. This is my question for you today. What's the first step you can take to eliminate an excuse to stop your procrastination in something? And 2, how can you start being less busy and just try to be productive, no matter what it is, inside of your fitness, body, your career, or whatever it is? So those are my step A and step B challenges for you. So, all right, everyone, that's going to wrap up today's show. As always, thank you all for joining. Really appreciate you guys. I know I said we had an interview coming on here. I'm still working on editing all of that information, so that will be up here in the next couple days. It was pretty awesome. I hope you guys tune into it. It's going to be really, really cool. So that'll be up here later in the week. Until then, this is Dan Hafner signing off, saying run your day. Don't let it run you.
Thank you for listening to the Run Your Day podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, feel free to share today's show with friends and family. Until next time, have a great day.